Hey guys, it's Emma here, and I'm joined by a special guest to do my recent reads favourite read for November. So, without further ado, let's just get right into it. So, the first thing I read from November was another book on my Kindle Unlimited subscription, and it was the last book of the Tudor saga. So, it was The Heart of a King, The Infamous Reign of Elizabeth I. Then, another book from Kindle Unlimited, Jedi Summer. One more from Kindle Unlimited just to make sure I get my money's worth. It was The Wolf Den. And then one of the second-hand books I picked up in one of my hauls, the Assassin's Creed movie tie-in book, the novelization of the movie. And then a couple of books that I picked up with a gift card from Waterstones from over a year ago, more like a year and a half ago now. The Vampire Lestat and The Queen of the Damned by Anne Rice. I had actually also bought the Interview with the Vampire, the first book, but I read that last year, but for whatever reason I didn't get around to reading the other two until now. Anyway, so that was them. And then a comic book that I picked up was in one of my haul videos called Hotel. And a couple of more books from Waterstones that used up a voucher. So The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle and The Postscript Murders. And then one of the comics from my partner's collection, who is Jake Ellis. And one of the books from I think it was my fiction box of stories, Three Single Wives. So that is everything that I read the last month. Again, I didn't really have anything that jumped out at me that much that I absolutely loved. There were a few, like the Three Single Wives and Postscript Murders that were good, but they weren't amazing for me. So I think the book, I've thought about this a bit, and I think the book I'm going to say is my favourite thing that I read in November is actually The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice. So it was what I'm saying is the first half was my favourite thing that I read. I read the first half and I was absolutely into it. I was absolutely loving it. I kind of lost a slight bit of interest in the second half, and then when I read Queen of the Damned right after, I really did not like that one. So it's definitely not my favourite of the month. But the first half of The Vampire Lestat I really enjoyed. I think I've seen or read bits of it before, but I'm not sure if I've read the whole thing, but I was remembering and recognising passages. I think maybe one of our English teachers gave it to us, bits of it to read before, years ago now obviously, but yeah, I really loved the first half. It was fun seeing Lestat and having a book about him. I've watched the movie, that was my main kind of reference point. I have now read, as I said, Interview with the Vampire, so that's obviously on Louis' side of things, so it was interesting to hear Lestat's side of things and where he became a vampire, how that all happened, and he kind of basically in this book it kind of gives pretty much his whole story, and stops at a point. Then Queen of the Damned kind of picks up, but it's in different, every chapter pretty much is a different person's viewpoint, and I couldn't get into that. And also at the start of the Queen of the Damned, every chapter was a poem by her husband that I was just not into at all, so never mind. But yeah, it kind of picks up where the Vampire Lestat leaves off, and the Vampire Lestat is basically from when he was a human, made into a vampire, all the way up until the 80s, because that's when the books came out, I think, and kind of goes up to the Interview with the Vampire and further slightly for the Vampire Lestat story. And as I say, I just really find it interesting seeing things on his side of things, and especially when he mentions Louis and Claudia at bits, seeing his side of those things. I just found that really cool, and I just really enjoyed it. But yeah, as I say, I didn't love the second half quite as much, so I'm not gonna keep them. But at the moment, I have way too many books, and if you've seen any of my previous videos, you will know that I've just got a massive box of 24 books for a book advent calendar, so I'm actually okay with getting rid of some books because I do not have room for them all. But yeah, as I say, I loved the first half, not as much the second half, but this will be my my favourite read for November, because I really, really was into the first half and I just absolutely loved it, and it was my favourite thing, first half, that I had read the whole month. So that's it, guys. Kind of a cop-out this week. This month, I'm sorry. But the first half of Vampire Lestat is my favourite read, and I would recommend it because I really did enjoy it. I thought it was really awesome. It just kind of tailed off for me at the end a bit, but it was a really good book. So that is it for this one, guys. Any comments, pop them down below. Have you read any of these books? Do you feel the same as me? Do you think differently? Pop all your comments down below. Give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and I will catch you next time, guys. Bye!